What's going on, guys? Josh here from Momentum Productions and back with another live stream for all of you filmmakers. So let's use this time wisely. I want to be on for at least an hour today talking to you guys and finding out exactly what your accomplishments are, what you want them to be, what are some of your goals, and what you're looking for to, what you're striving for as a filmmaker. Are you a hobbyist? Are you trying to be a professional? Do you want to make money off of this? Let me know what you think, because this is what I do. I make my only job is a filmmaker. I mean, I make my money solely off of filmmaking. I have no other external job. So I'm using like a little desk lamp here, so hopefully that's enough to light up my face. But let me know what you guys think regarding the whole filmmaking business. I mean, what are you trying to achieve? What is your ultimate goal here? You want to make a 6 or 7 figure salary? Like, what are you trying to do? Within the last 2 weeks, I uploaded a video entitled "How to Get the Highest Paying Clients." That's probably one of the most overlooked videos I have, because it's probably the second or third video that I released that it's kind of similar but not. I mean, I've come up with different strategies in order for you to get these high-paying clients. I put out, I think, 2 or 3 videos. I even put out a course, a free 37-minute course on how to get these high-paying clients. For drone work, for just camera work in general. By following those steps, you are guaranteed to get some attention. And unfortunately, they're the most overlooked videos. They may not be like the most exciting videos, but they are the most important videos, because it's all about, if you want to make money, if you want to make a living off of this, you have to know how to attract clients. So that's the best way in getting these sort of clients. So let's see if we can answer some questions here. Photocanto says, "Hey Josh, what's up, Photocanto?" Eric says, "Hi, I couldn't find your video on auto tracking feature for real estate with Mavic Pro. Can you review some of your titles so we can find them easily when we get back?" I mean, it should be here. I'll find it right now within a split second for you. But it's there. If you just type in real estate Mavic on my channel, you should be able to find it. I'll do it right now. Okay, here it is. I found it. It's another overlooked video I have. It only has 1,600 views. Should have at least 10,000 views in my opinion. But here we go, Eric. Here's the link. Okay. Next question is... Oh, Elric. I'm sorry. I called you Eric by accident. Elric. To make money, you need to streamline your production process, not to spend 2 days on a $300 job. You are absolutely right. Honestly, you shouldn't even spend 1 day on a $300 job. The typical rate, at least for a full-time 8-hour job, you shouldn't be asking anything less than $500. But then again, that's like the base. That's the minimum you should be earning on a full-time job. No less than $500. And I'm being honest with you here, because $500, that's cheap. $500 is cheap. You shouldn't be charging anything less than that on a full 8-hour job. Josh, I missed a few sessions of the Jew and Crane and other gimbals. Okay, wanted to ask you something. Photocanto says, "Can we use a 70 to 200 type lens on these gimbals?" You can use, not on the Jew and Crane. I wouldn't suggest that. However, if you go to something like Cane TV Argo or even the Moswa Air, the 70 to 200 will work. But then again, it's not highly recommended, because using a 70 mil on any sort of gimbal or stabilizer is difficult because you are increasing that focal length, and by increasing that focal length, you're going to see more of those micro jitters, those micro vibrations. So you have to keep that in mind. However, there's a reason why people like to use the 70 to 200, and that's because, I'm going to drop these blinds because the exposure is going out of control. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, yeah, so the reason why you would want to use a 70 to 200 is because you get that shallow depth of field. So I would see why you would want to use a lens of that focal length. It's pretty nice to see a shallow depth of field. So with that kind of setup, if you want to get better stability, I strongly recommend using a dual handle gimbal. The Moswa Air, the Jiwon Crane, the Jiwon Crane 2 has a 7-pound payload capacity. So you can actually mount a 70 to 200 on the Jiwon Crane 2. They don't have the dual handles released just yet, but they will eventually. So that's something I strongly recommend that you look into, because the dual handle system will help you out carry those heavier cameras and those heavier lenses. So look into that. Zafar says, hey, what software do I use? I use Final Cut Pro. Gutham, hi, can you tell me about how to shoot video use picture style contrast? It's really dynamic. Gutham, I can't really understand what you're saying. Can you maybe elaborate more on that, please? Thank you. Elric says, do you have preferred settings for the Mavic Pro camera, manual settings for sunny SoCal days? So for sunny SoCal days, I do have preferred settings, but it also depends on the frame rate that I'm shooting at. So if I'm shooting at 60 frames per second, obviously your shutter speed should be at 1/120th, and I'm using an ND filter. I don't want to shoot at a really high shutter speed. For those of you who shoot with the Mavic Pro without any ND filters, you are going to have to increase your shutter speed in order to darken up the footage. But once you do that, you can't really shoot fast-moving objects because they can actually disappear out of frame, because when you increase your shutter speed, that's what's going to happen. So instead of jeopardizing the shot, you should definitely invest in some ND filters. There's nothing better on the market, nothing better in the world than using ND filters on a sunny day. That's like the best thing you can do for your camera setup. Elric is saying if you're shooting at 24 frames per second in 4K, then you should be shooting at 1/48th shutter speed. Again, you should be using an ND filter. Now when it comes down to picture profile, I like to use either the natural, neutral, or D-Log. These get you those flat colors, the flat contrast. That way when you import it into post-production software, you are able to manipulate those colors and customize it to your liking and apply different LUTs to it as well. Impress Lab, hi Josh, is the last gimbal, excellent presentation, thank you so much, capable to hold the FS5? So I think you're talking about the Moswa Air, correct? So I'm not sure how much the FS5 weighs, but the form factor does seem like it's a little bit too big for the Moswa Air. The Moswa Air is compatible with cameras weighing up to 5.5 pounds. So if you are able, I haven't fit an FS5 on the Moswa Air. I don't own an FS5. However, I'll tell you this. If you go to Best Buy or any other local camera store, I'm sure they have a production model of the Jiwon Crane or a production model of the FS5. Simply ask them if they can place the FS5 on the Jiwon Crane. Don't worry about the payload capacity, just worry about more of that clearance issue. If the clearance is fine on the Jiwon Crane, you will have a perfect, you'll be able to mount it on the Moswa Air as well. The reason why I say don't worry about the payload capacity is because the Moswa Air supports 1.5 pounds of more payload than the Jiwon Crane version 2. So keep that in mind. As of right now, worry about the clearance. I can't tell you right now if the FS5 will work with the Moswa Air. However, I can get you a list of compatible cameras. I did not see the FS5 being on the list of compatible cameras for the Moswa Air. The Blackmagic Cinema camera was one of those compatible cameras. Let me get you actually that list, so that way we can... This light is a little irritating. Let me get you that list. It's loading here. Cope with me, please, while it's loading. Do you regret selling the Inspire and not just getting the X5? Do I regret selling the Inspire? Man, that's a deep question. I had a relationship with my Inspire. That was my ultimate favorite drone. I did not use it on professional shoots, though. I did not. So do I regret selling it? Yes and no. I regret selling it as a hobbyist. But I don't regret it when selling it as a professional, because I didn't use it on any professional shoots. I couldn't. It was too bulky. It took too long to set up, and it was just too big to take around with me. So as a professional, I don't regret it. As a hobbyist, I do. I should have kept it, though, as a hobbyist, because just flying that thing was so much fun. No other drone can fly like an Inspire. Nothing comes close. And I want to fly the Inspire too. I haven't gotten my hands on it, but if I do, I'm probably gonna end up buying it. So I want to stay away from the Inspire too, even though that thing is probably the coolest drone on the market. Another drone you should start paying attention to is one that is called the Plexi drone. Now, they were supposed to hit the market in 2015, but they kept upgrading their hardware to compete with DJI. So if you have a chance, look up Plexi drone, because they're coming up with something really cool. It's basically a hybrid between a Phantom 4 Pro, and an Inspire 2. They filled that void between the two drones. So if you check out Plexi drone, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, let me see if I can get you that list of compatible cameras. My internet's being really slow today, guys, as it always is, because I live in the hills and the okay, here we go. So here's the list of compatible cameras. I'm just going to read them out to you. Fujifilm X-T2, Sony A99, Panasonic GH5, Leica M10, Canon 5DS, Blackmagic Cinema Camera, Sony A7S II, Panasonic GH4, Canon 7D Mark II, Canon 5D Mark IV, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, Sony A6300, Nikon D800, Canon Rebel T5i, Canon 5D Mark III. The FS5 will not work with this gimbal. However, the FS5 will work with the Crane 2. It will work with the Crane 2. Can you tell me what dynamic range is? Gutham, very good question. Dynamic range. So when we're looking to buy a camera, we usually see in the specifications 12 stops dynamic range, 14 stops dynamic range. What does this mean? Dynamic range is basically how well can the camera capture different colors, basically highlights, shadows, and midtones. How much depth, how much data does this camera capture? So when we import footage into our color correction software and we notice that something is too bright or blown out or too dark, we want to brighten it or darken it, right? So dynamic range helps us get that data. So when we have something that's clipped and we drop it down a few stops of light, we want to be able to retain the data. So let's say we're shooting clouds up in the sky, right? Most of the time, clouds are extremely overexposed. We can't really see the details and the separation of the clouds. So what high dynamic range does is when we bring it into post-production and we want to lower the brightness of the clouds, we will be able to see that definition of those clouds because of high dynamic range. We have that data. And in the shadows, for example, if we're shooting maybe something dark. I'm trying to find an example. Maybe like a bush or something, and we want to brighten up the shadows. That way we can see the individual leaves. Dynamic range allows us to get that data as we increase the brightness of the shadows. That way, as we increase the brightness of the shadows, we don't lose those specific data, those separation, those lines. So I hope that helps you understand what high dynamic range is. We can get more into detail about that. Maybe I'll release a tutorial on dynamic range and how that works. But obviously, the higher stops of dynamic range a camera sensor can support is better. That way we can decrease light or increase light in post-production without losing that data, without losing those lines that separate the leaves or those lines that separate the clouds. That's what dynamic range is. That's what it allows us to get. If we took an iPhone, for example, and tried to shoot the clouds, iPhones have a very small, cheap sensor. They don't have that much of a dynamic range. So if you take a video of the clouds and you bring it into post-production and you try to decrease the brightness of the clouds or try to mess with the colors of the clouds, you're going to lose a lot of that data. You're not going to get that realistic look. You're not going to get that separation, that detail that you want. So that's the difference between an iPhone camera and a higher quality camera like the Sony A9, Sony A7, any Sony like professional camera or Canon camera for that matter. Those cameras have higher dynamic range, so you're able to capture that data. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. That's kind of a lot to digest, but yeah. Okay. Safar says, I use Final Cut Pro 10 too. My final question would be, when you shoot at 60 frames per second, do you import it at 24 frames per second timeline or 60 frames per second timeline when creating a new project? So let's say, okay, good question. So I shoot a lot of the times in 60 frames per second. However, 24 frames per second is not always my look. But if I want that to be the look, yes, I import 60 frames per second footage and export it in 24 frames per second. So my project, my timeline in Final Cut Pro is set to 24 frames per second. Now you don't want to flip it around. You don't want to shoot something at 24 frames per second and then export it at 60 frames per second, because the rendering is going to be skipping over frames to compensate for those missed frames. So it's going to be adding blank frames. So when you export something at a higher frame rate than what it was recorded at, you're going to see a lot of, jittery movements. As long as you're shooting at a high frame rate and then exporting at a lower frame rate, you shouldn't have a problem. Yeah, so Photoconto, you are right. The FS5 will definitely work with the Cane TV Argo. So yeah, I double-checked the stats and all that good stuff on the Guts and Moswa Air. FS5 is not compatible. Ben Jessen, red or black magic? That's easy, red. I'm not a big fan of black magic, unfortunately. Don't like the touch screen, I don't like the ergonomics, and overall the picture is just eh. Red does a much better job. D, hey, love your work. Some advice if you can offer. Finding clients has slowed recently. Any advice for finding some more and being efficient in finding them? Thanks. So I hope that you've watched all of my content regarding finding high-paying clients. What month is it right now? October, November, December. So we are going to be approaching holiday season. So this is the time that stuff starts to slow down. So if it's difficult for you to find clients, try your best to find a part-time job working for a digital media company. Right now, clients are at least the high-paying clients, the ones that I work with, they are leaving the country. They are traveling at this time, October, November, December. Those are probably one of the most difficult months to find work. I'm not going to lie, this month for me is pretty slow. So right now I'm just focusing on my brand, working with Amazon and doing some affiliate marketing. And I'm doing film work on the side for some smaller clients. So that's what's happening right now in my business. It's a little bit slower than usual, but with your situation, another tactic that I would like to use, actually, that I'm actually starting to apply, and I'm getting a lot more work now, is approaching smaller clients. For example, I approached a guy that I met at a bar, actually, and I met him through a mutual friend, and he wants to shoot for this elementary school, promoting this elementary school. The pay is very good, and I'm going to be starting to do some content for this elementary school. It's actually a private elementary school, so there's going to be money there. So that's what I'm doing currently now. The high-paying clients, a little bit slower than usual. The high-profile clients, but the lower-profile clients, that's probably who you want to target at this time. You know, Christmas season, Thanksgiving season, that's even Halloween season. Things are going to start slowing down a bit. So try to focus on the lower-profile clients, and hopefully that will help you out. Geo NYC, what is the best inexpensive camera for both video and 4K in pictures? GH4, Panasonic GH4. Hey Josh, what do I have to look at in a laptop so I can edit videos with no problem? You want to work on Windows. So you're on a budget. Okay, so Windows is perfect. MacBooks are very expensive, a little bit overpriced. So Windows, I guess, would be perfect for you since you're on a budget. Things you got to look at if you're going to do video editing work and photography and all that other stuff. You want to look at GPU, CPU, RAM, and hard drive. Honestly, I don't want to work with anything that doesn't have a solid-state drive. Solid states are the fastest drives on the market. There's no moving parts. The disks don't have to spin up and search for your content. So solid-state drives, definitely a must for your computer. They are expensive, but in the long run, you're going to be a lot happier with that. GPU speed and VRAM, all that stuff is very important to look at. CPU speed, I wouldn't want to work with anything lower than a quad-core CPU. That way you can multitask, and you'll be happier in the long run with how fast things are rendering. What difference between Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro? In my experience, Final Cut Pro is a lot faster in rendering, and it's a lot more user-friendly. Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro has one very clear and distinct advantage, and that is color correction. With the basic Premiere Pro, you are getting really nice color correction plugin built in there. Final Cut Pro has a horrible color correction inside. So those are one of the most sorry, I'm cracking my neck. Those are one of the most distinct things that I've seen between the two softwares when it comes down to like color correction. But overall, I'm happier with Final Cut Pro, because I can use DaVinci Resolve Lite and color my footage that way if I wanted to, and that's a free software. So yeah, if you're focused more on efficiency, then go to Final Cut Pro. Honestly, you're going to be happier that way. Press Lab says, thanks Josh from Photoconto about the FS5. Still looking then for a non-expensive way to handle, but easy to handle solution. Okay. Riaz, hello, how you doing? D says thank you. Zafar, so if I want to get a decent slow-mo, which was shot at 60 frames per second, let's say should I import it into 24 frame timeline or 60 frames per second? No. So if you shoot something at 60 frames per second and you slow it down, that means you're slowing it down, which means that that means that you're no longer having that 60 frames per second footage. If you're slowing that footage down, if you're taking 60 frames per second footage and you want to slow it down to 30 frames per second footage, it's no longer 60 frames per second footage. So you don't want to have a 60 frames per second timeline anymore. You want to have it at a much slower frame rate, preferably the frame rate that you're slowing down that 60 frames per second footage at. So if I take 60 frames per second footage and slowing it down to 30 frames per second footage, I either want to export it at 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. But don't export slower footage at a higher frame rate. That's not a good idea. You're going to get that similar issue with that frame skipping. You don't want that. Ria says, using the smooth cue as a crane. You want to see a video on that? Best options on how to do that. So I made a video on how to do that, but with the Jew and crane. Basically the same tactics apply, same strategy. So watch that video. Just go to my channel and look at my playlist. I have a Jew and crane playlist. Watch those videos because you can apply those same tactics to the smooth cue. And I just got my smooth cue yesterday, and it's pretty cool. And it's actually up on my slider back there. Yeah, it's a cool gimbal. Photoconto, so just a camera for super slow motion. Oh, super slow motion. Alright, so Sony RX100 Mark V. We're gonna get some pretty nice slow motion there. Now, if you don't have a budget and you want to spend 60 grand on a camera, you get the Phantom camera. That thing is ridiculous. Oh man. Best app to edit videos for iOS. Honestly, iMovie does an excellent job. I'm really happy with iMovie. Yeah. I use iMovie a lot for whenever I upload to Instagram, like whenever I want to show like a teaser or snippet of a video that I'm about to release. I use iMovie to edit down that footage and upload it to my Instagram. And by the way, if you guys don't have me on Instagram, add me on Instagram at momentum_productions. That's my Instagram name. Make sure you add me. We can chat on there in the DMs. I know that sometimes I can't get back to everybody who DMs me, but keep DMing me if I don't reply. Sometimes I do get very busy and I overlook messages. So just keep messaging me with questions. If I don't reply, just keep being persistent and eventually I will reply to you. So yeah, good questions, guys. I'm impressed. Today's live stream started off with a bang. Good work, guys. You guys are picking my brain. Alright, so yeah. Any more questions? We're about 27 minutes in. It's fantastic. Also, make sure that you guys share my channel with your friends, family. I'm not even asking for donations, but if you want to super chat me, please feel free to super chat. But as of right now, there is some weird bug or something happening to my YouTube channel where my subscriber count has just dramatically dropped. And I don't know why, what's going on. The drop happened the day after my birthday. September 8th is when my drop in my YouTube channel happened. And ever since, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. I'm trying to do these live streams more often now because I want to talk to my viewers and see if I'm doing something wrong, something that you're not liking or appreciating. So far on my videos recently, especially, I'm getting very good, positive feedback. So I have no idea what's going on with the subscriber count. View count has dropped as well. Retention count has dropped. So I'm just very confused at what's happening to the YouTube channel. So if you guys could just take literally 30 seconds, copy and paste the link to my YouTube channel, go on your social media and just spread the word of this channel, I would be forever grateful. And at the end of this month, I will be doing a giveaway, a very good giveaway. So I will be checking to see if my statistics grow so I can actually look at who shared my channel links. So if you are one of those people, please, you are in good hands for that giveaway. So make sure that you share my content. The more people you bring over to subscribe, I'm able to track all that, so I know who brings people to my channel. So please make sure you do that so you can get entered into this giveaway. So that would mean the world to me. It will be beneficial to you, beneficial to the channel, beneficial to our community of filmmakers. So keep that in mind. This is very important because I'm at war with YouTube right now. Their algorithm is not doing anything positive for me right now. So basically my top 5 videos, my glide cam videos, my Jew and crane videos, literally the views got cut in half. Cut in half. I looked at the September 8th statistics. That's when the drop happened. Literally, my view count, and that's something that is not supposed to happen overnight. It's not naturally possible for that to happen overnight. So something happened within the YouTube algorithm that completely screwed me, completely screwed my YouTube channel, my views, my subscriber count, completely screwed me. So I am trying to understand why. It might be YouTube's fault. It might be YouTube's fault because I'm looking at the comments that I'm getting, and about 93, 92% of them are positive. I have over a 90% approval rate on my videos. Over 90%. That's very high. So I don't know what's going on with that. So if you guys could share this content, please let me know. Please let me know if I'm doing something that you're not liking. If the content I'm producing is something that's not good enough for your standards, I need to know. I'm not going to take it personally. I'm going to take it professionally. So I need you guys to tell me if you're not happy with my content, because that's very important to me. Terrible birthday present from YouTube. I know. My birthday was on September 7th, and on September 8th, YouTube just completely, boom, completely screwed my YouTube channel. But it's okay. I'm fighting against YouTube right now. We are strong. We are strong. If you go to socialblade.com, you can see what happened to my statistics. It's going to make you sick. It's really bad. My views... My subscriber count dropped 20%. I know that doesn't sound like much, but actually 20% is a pretty big drop. If someone sees a 20% drop in their stocks, they're going to start crying. That's basically what my channel is to me. It's like stock. So subscriber count is very important. It's very important to me, and I can't. Yeah, a lot of YouTubers don't want you to look at their stats, but I'll let you look at my stats. If you go to socialblade.com and type in Momentum Productions under the YouTube section, you'll see what happened to my stats. You go to September 8th, and you're going to see that massive drop. That massive drop. It's disgusting to look at. I'm embarrassed to tell you guys about it, but I want to be transparent with you. So that's what's going on. I've been in a lot. I've been struggling with YouTube the last 3 weeks. It's been a nightmare with YouTube. So hopefully something will pick up. So I would really appreciate you guys sharing the content, and let's fight this algorithm because it's getting really bad. Ooh, all right, that was my little rant for today. Tim is asking, what would be a decent quality camera to do in a very limited budget? That's also good in low light and not for movie making, mainly interviews, recording people. Look at the original Sony A7S. I mean, it's still kind of an expensive camera, but I think for like $1,500 or $1,600, you'll get a used Sony A7S. Best low light camera on the market. You can't find anything better than that. D says it's probably some nonsense to do with the algorithm. I think many are having problems. Yeah, I mean, a lot of YouTubers who have the similar subscriber count as me right now, I'm looking at their stats, and it's bad for them as well. So I'm not the only one who's suffering. Even though I did take one of the bigger hits, yeah, my channel did take a very big hit. So, but you know what? I'm still going to be uploading content. I'm not going to go on this BS YouTube strike. I'm still going to be uploading content because it's not... I'm not doing this for YouTube. I'm doing this for you guys. Doing this for you guys. I'm not really looking forward to making money off of YouTube because they pay peanuts anyway. So it's more just like getting the message out, getting the content out, getting the education out. That's what I am really looking forward to doing. MC Drone says, very informative and enjoyable videos, Josh. Very thorough in your reviews. Thank you, MC Drone. I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Welcome back. Impress Lab says, maybe it's the same like in Facebook. The algorithm promotes you until 10K followers. Later, it brings your stats down. Oh, I didn't know that Facebook does that. Fantastic. So Facebook is kind of a criminal too. Oh man, it's disgraceful, guys. Like, if you want to make a career off of YouTube, I put in probably how many hours? At least 30 hours a week into YouTube, believe it or not. Idea creation, production, post-production, promotion. I mean, that's at least 30 hours a week I'm putting in. And I get maybe on average about 4 hours of sleep every night. Now that I've hit one of the biggest milestones in my YouTube, 20,000 subscribers. I'm at 22 now, but once I hit that milestone, something happened. Something happened. YouTube brought me down, and ever since I had that drop happening, I couldn't sleep. I kept getting paranoid about the content I was releasing. So, don't know what's happening with that, guys. The stats, again, like I said earlier, they don't tell me much. The stats don't tell me. They tell me where people unsubscribe from, but they don't tell me, why. It would be great if YouTube did a little survey for each subscriber who unsubscribed, and that would tell me why they're unsubscribing. That's what YouTube should really do. If you unsubscribe from my channel or any other channel, a little window should pop up, a little survey, be like, can you please explain why you are unsubscribing from this channel? And there should be just a list of 3 or 4 options and a little box for them to add their own comments. I mean, that's how you're going to really benefit the creator to make better content. So I wish that YouTube would implement something like that into their system, but I don't know. It really leaves creators like us in the dark. Okay, here's some other questions that are coming in. Canon 60 Mark II, video compression.mp4, 60.mov. What's the difference between MP4 and MOV? Any quality problems? Can you tell me that? Since I use a MacBook Pro, I found out that MOV is slightly a better compression for MacBook because MacBook uses QuickTime, and MOV just seems to be running smoother than MP4. And I've heard rumors, I haven't really looked into the science or the numbers of it, but I've heard rumors that MP4 is a compressed version of MOV. I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard. I shoot all my stuff in .mov. That's the compression I'm using. And I'm able to edit it very smoothly. So I could be wrong, guys. I'm not into the whole format type stuff. I'm more into the numbers, like 100 megabits, 200 megabits. That's something I look more at than just the format. So yeah, that's my take on that. Riaz, some DIY options, do-it-yourself options on how to mount a Sony Action Cam on the Smooth Q. So I know that the Smooth Q, Juin sells these adapters for the GoPros. I don't know anything about the Sony cameras. I mean, I just got my Smooth Q yesterday. I need some time to play around with it first. So let me get back to you on that after I have some experience with the Smooth Q. D says, your content is solid, mate. Keep doing your thing. YouTube has been randomly unsubbing people also. Yeah, they have. YouTube has been... I looked at my stats and it looked like a lot of accounts were closed. And I guess that if a subscriber is not really that active on channels, like commenting and stuff, they're just going to delete you or erase your channel, which I think is awful. There's a lot of people who just like to watch stuff. They don't necessarily want to engage, but they watch it. So I don't think that's fair for YouTube to be doing that. MC Drone, have a like on me. All of the above, click like. Go on, you know you should. MC Drone, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, guys, please, please share this channel with your friends and family or anybody. Again, this is a community. I want this to be the largest filmmaking community on YouTube. I know that seems far-fetched, but if we put in the work, if we share this channel, we can be the largest filmmaking community. Even if the algorithm doesn't allow it to happen, we can beat the algorithm. We just need the numbers. And once we have the numbers, that algorithm won't mean anything to us. We can beat these numbers. We can beat them. I mean, we can beat this algorithm. We can beat it with the numbers, with the appropriate numbers, guys. I'm losing a ton of subscribers, but the channel is still growing. It's still growing. I'm still getting more subscribers every day, but I'm just not getting as many as I used to. And I know for a fact it's the algorithm. Just overnight, views dropped, split in half. Subscriber count split in half. Subscriber acquisition split in half. I used to be doing averages of like 75, 80 subscribers a day. And now I'm doing about barely 40. Yeah, it's bad. It's I'm lucky if I do 40. I'm lucky if I do 40 now. D says, don't lose sleep over things out of your control. It won't change a thing. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's just my YouTube channel right now is like my baby. I saw it grow and I put a lot of work into it. So it's hard to see it, suffer a little bit. That's what's making me not sleep well at night. Gutham is asking how to make a LUT file. That is actually something I don't know how to do. I don't know how to make a lookup table file. I know how to work with lookup tables. I know how to implement lookup tables, but I don't know how to make a lookup table file. So I'll look into that and I'll let you know. MC Drone says, I love my Smooth Q. I sold my Osmo Mobile and got that instead. I use the native camera app. I find that it works flawless. I use a Samsung S8 Plus. I was concerned about the weight, but it's no problem at all. Yeah, I mean, I had the DJI original Osmo, the original DJI Osmo. I used it maybe 5 or 6 times in 10 months, and then I sold it. Battery life was awful. Stability was great. Picture quality was awful. And the noise was awful. Which is so bad. It was embarrassing at how bad it was. Yeah. It was so bad. And it was bulky too. It was really bulky. So now that I have the Smooth Q, I'm pretty happy with it. Gutham says, really, I love you. You are awesome, man. I really like you. Thank you, Gutham. I really appreciate it. But yeah, dude, if you can, please, again, share this channel. Share it. You can throw a super chat as well. That's like a donation to the channel as well. That allows me to purchase new equipment for review videos and tutorial videos. So if you do have a $1 or $2 to donate, please click on that super chat button. And if you can't do that, please at least share this content, share the channel with your friends and family. That would mean the world to me. Thank you. Sorry if I'm looking up. I have two displays, one with the comments and then one with the camera, so I'm trying to go back and forth here. D says, a LUT file, I don't know if I do it correct, but I use an adjustment layer and add the color to that. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. MC Drone says, battery life, Josh, is insane on the Smooth Q. Oh, yes it is. I used it for like 3 or 4 hours straight yesterday, and it's still at 100%. It's ridiculous. MC Drone, thank you so much for your donation, brother. You're awesome. MC Drone is a long-time supporter. He's been here for a while, so I appreciate your support, my friend. And if you have any ideas on some new tutorial videos you want to see for like the Mavic or something like that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that. I feel like I feel like a lot of my ideas ran dry on the Mavic because I literally have done everything possible with the Mavic Pro. I don't know what else I can do. Maybe I can show, since I have something written here, like maybe I can do a composition tutorial on the Mavic, how to compose shots. I haven't done that yet, so I'm probably going to be doing that. How to compose drone shots, like incorporating the rule of thirds, how to place the subject in the center of the frame, why you should place them in the center of the frame. Like, I want to incorporate some more of that filmmaking aspect, some more of that, what's it called, theory. I want to apply some filmmaking theory into drones. because I think that's where people are going to start seeing their videos transform. So incorporating rule of thirds, composition, I feel like eye lines, that's all important stuff, even with drone work. So maybe I'm going to do something about that. Yeah, I think that's an important concept to learn. Oh man, this is good stuff, guys. I really like today's live chat. You guys are engaging very well. I mean, you're asking a ton of questions, and I just love answering these. D says titles would be a nice video. Titles. What do you mean by titles? Can you elaborate more on that, please? Gutham says, I will send you a donation now here at night. I'm from India. I will send you in the morning. Thank you, Gutham. I appreciate it, my friend. I have really close ties to India. I have a sponsor in India by the company is called Camgear. They send me some equipment and to review, and yeah, I have very close ties with India, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So currently, guys, I'm very excited to announce that I have very good ties with American manufacturers, Indian manufacturers, Canadian manufacturers, Polish manufacturers. I don't know if I said this already, but Chinese manufacturers. So it's coming from all over the world, so that's very good. That means that, a lot of the world right now is competing in the filmmaking industry, and that's impressive, very, very impressive. So I'm excited to see what different countries come out with. D. Oh, okay. It takes me forever to find the right font placement and all that. Okay, yeah, man. I'll definitely show you some cool cinematic fonts. Especially the fonts that they use in music videos when the title comes up or the name of the musician comes up. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Very good idea. Actually, I'm going to write that down. We're going to do I'm going to show you some of my favorite sites to look at for some fonts as well. Let me write it down here in my list of notes. We're going to call this title tutorial, right? And we're going to be calling it, so we're going to talk about fonts and placement, okay? And even though I'm going to be using like Final Cut to do this tutorial, the same thing is going to apply with Premiere Pro, because the same fonts are going to be in Premiere Pro. So that's fantastic. Thank you for that suggestion. We're definitely going to be doing something like that. Riaz, I hope I'm pronouncing your name, my friend. Please let me know if I'm not. My SmoothQ app still says battery 100%, even if the LED blinks twice, 50% battery. Maybe it's a glitch. I don't know. How long did it take for you to run down the battery to 50%? Do you know? Let me know. It's interesting. Interesting to look at that. Alright guys, we got 12 minutes left on this live stream. Let's make it count. I want more questions, guys. You got more for me. Come on. Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Totally down to help you guys out. I want to be extremely transparent with you guys. So let me know. Wow, look at this. We gained some subscribers in this live stream. Let's keep it up, guys. Let's share this content. Let's get these views and subscribers back up. Let's fight this YouTube algorithm. Let's fight it, because it's a robot, and robots are trying to take over control of the human population right now. At least on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, Skynet is taking over YouTube right now. Skynet is from Terminator. I don't know if you guys saw that movie. One of my favorite movies is Terminator. So Skynet's taken over. Yeah. Okay, what other questions we got, my friends? Let me know. Let's see here. And by the way, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about YouTube networks. So obviously you guys have YouTube channels. Obviously. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about YouTube networks. And what are YouTube networks? Basically, they're platforms where you can promote your channel on through their platform, and in exchange, they take, I think it's 30% of your revenue. It depends on the company. Don't do these networks if you're a small channel. I'm considered a small channel. And every time I'm in doubt of my YouTube channel, I research these YouTube networks. And every single time I do the research, it always comes back in a negative, negative search. Like, it's not good. If you're a large YouTuber, like let's say you have 100,000 plus subscribers, then a network will benefit you more. But if you're small, if you're under 100,000, don't do the network. Don't do it. Grow your channel yourself. And even when you get to 100,000 subscribers, you might not even need them then. I feel like that only when you need to see a spike in your growth and you've only been plateauing at 100,000 subscribers, that's when you can probably consider either collaborating with other YouTubers or just going to a network. But right now, while you're still small, don't do don't sign any contracts with networks. Not a good idea. Gutham is asking, did you buy the GoPro 6? No, but I want to buy the GoPro Fusion. I definitely want the Fusion. GoPro 6 looks dope, but I want to get the Fusion. I want to get the 360 degree 5 points. I think it's 5.6K resolution, all around. 5.2 or 5.6? I don't remember. I think it's 5.6 resolution. That's cool. I want to get that camera. Brett Linford, what is the best bang for your buck in a gimbal or Steadicam? Easy. The Moswa Air. It's $5.99 and you get a dual handle system, 8 hours battery life, great stability, and you get a hard shell case with it. No other gimbal manufacturer does that. So take that into consideration. It's the best bang for your buck. However, I did just get the what's it called? The Filmmaking A2000. That's, guys, it's the quietest gimbal I've ever seen. It's so quiet. And for those of you who are new to gimbals, usually whenever you do quick and abrupt movements with a gimbal, you can hear whining of the motors. The Moswa Air has that issue. It's pretty audible. But that's, I feel like it's a firmware thing. The algorithm is not quite as good as, let's say, the Jiwon Crane. The Jiwon Crane also has some audible noises at times whenever I'm doing abrupt movements. All these gimbal manufacturers are using similar motors. Okay, it's the same technology, similar motors. Their slip ring technology. It's all the same. What's different is the algorithms that they use for these encoders that control the motors. Encoders are like little micro computers that control the individual motors. So that is what's responsible for noise distribution and power output. So I feel like Filmmaking came out with the best algorithm for these types of gimbals. They nailed the algorithm. I haven't seen an algorithm where a gimbal literally produces no noise. I'm not able to hear any noise on the Filmmaking. I don't know. I think that's why it's one of the pricier gimbals, because of that reason. They nailed the algorithm. Even my Kane TV Argo, which I thought was extremely silent, can't do it. It can't be absolutely noiseless. A2000, I probably need a stethoscope to hear. The thing that doctors use. I think it's a stethoscope, right? You probably need one of those to hear the motors. That's how quiet it is. It's so super quiet. What is your favorite place you've ever filmed at? Ooh, good question. I have a few places, but one of my favorite places, I love urban exploration. For those of you who don't know what urban exploration is, it's basically exploring abandoned areas. So there's a place not too far from me that is, I think it's around 2.5 hours away from me. It's located near San Diego. It's called Salton Sea. Philip Bloom shot there. And I shot a music video there, and it's basically an abandoned town. The houses are still there. They're rotting. I mean, they're falling apart. But it's a little bit depressing, but the overall look and feel of it is so cool. Lindsey Sterling shot a music video there as well. I mean, like, all these big people have been there, and it's really neat. I love shooting in abandoned areas, and currently right now I'm doing some location scouting just for like some travel videos. I want to do some traveling at the end of this year or early next year. Japan has a ton of these beautiful places where you can just explore. I usually don't do this, but I'm going to recommend a channel to you if you guys are interested in doing stuff like this. Look up, this guy's name is Josh as well. Look up a channel called Exploring with Josh. I follow him. He goes to all of these unique and just abstract places that you never even thought existed, and he travels and shows you guys these places. And it's so cool just to see all these unique places, because every single time Josh releases a new video on a place that I absolutely fall in love with, I write it down immediately. I write it down. I have a list of abandoned places that I want to travel to. He goes to abandoned missile silos. These things are like underground cities that nobody's ever heard of. These things were built in like the 60s and 70s. In Japan, he explored an abandoned Disneyland, an abandoned theme park called Nara Dreamland. It's completely abandoned. It's too expensive to demolish, so they're just leaving it up to rot. Could you imagine the type of filming you can get done there? It's unreal. Unfreaking real. So, if you're into that stuff, guys, check out Exploring with Josh, that YouTube channel. He has over, I think, 1 million subscribers. He's doing very well for himself. Check him out. It's so good. Best sites for royalty-free music. AudioBlocks is good. Check out AudioBlocks. Honestly, recently, though, I've been getting a lot of my royalty-free music from YouTube. If you check out Audio Library non-copyright music on YouTube, you're going to get some great stuff there. Gutham is asking, what's the best low-budget professional mic for voice recording? What's your budget like? Let me know, and I'll tell you what mics you can get for that price. Brett, I think we answered your question already. What is your best bang for the buck in a Steadicam? It's the Moswa Air, but if you're looking for like a manual Steadicam, like a glide cam or something like that, probably the Flowcam 4000. That's the one I recently reviewed, and it's probably the best bang for your buck. It's like $130. It's very cheap. SoundCloud can be very useful for music. Creative Commons, search it. Yeah, I overlooked that. You're completely right. SoundCloud is definitely a great source of music. And especially on SoundCloud, you can actually communicate with the artist. You can send them messages, I believe, and literally ask them if you can use their music. So, yeah, that's definitely something to look at. Yeah. Good questions, guys. I'm really proud of you. This is one of the best live streams we've done together. Fantastic. Again, guys, before we close out this live stream, I'm not closing it yet, so don't leave. But before we close out, I just want to give you guys a big thumbs up for coming onto this live stream. You know, you guys are taking the first step of many steps of learning more about the filmmaking world. I'm not saying that I'm the best filmmaker or I know everything, but I have picked up things over the years, and I'm sharing that knowledge with you. So hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I made, and you'll take the successes that I've made for myself and apply it to your own business. So that way you don't have to struggle as much, or that way you don't have to spend as much money. And overall, I hope that this gives you an experience. It teaches you knowledge, and it gives you an education in this type of industry. And if I have educated you, if I have shared some knowledge with you, please, again, share this channel with your friends and family. Just share. That's all I ask of you at this point, because, again, we are fighting YouTube. We are fighting the evil algorithm that they came out with. So if we could just share the content, share the channel, that would be such a blessing. So thank you so much if you're doing that. I really appreciate that. Brett says, really appreciate all of the tips of your vids. Really made a difference to me. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Brett. I really appreciate that. Gutham says, thank you, Josh. I'm going to sleep here. 3:20 a.m. in India. Yeah. That sounds like me. I go to sleep around that time as well. So, sweet dreams, my friend. Take care. D says, we're all here to help each other. That's why I find the live streams and decent people on YouTube a real, rare, useful community. Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Gutham says, I will definitely share your channel. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right, guys, we approached an hour. I feel like we answered most of your questions, all of your questions, actually. I don't think we have any unanswered questions. I'm going to leave the last 1 minute, 60 seconds of, you know, I'm just going to give you guys 1 minute to ask me any last-minute questions you have that I can answer. If you're like Brett, who just joined in, please ask any questions that you may have. So I can answer them before we go offline. And I'll leave this live stream up so you guys can continue watching it at a later time. Brett says, just joined in, didn't hear you talk about the evil algorithm. So the YouTube evil algorithm, ever since September 8th, my channel has just plummeted to half its usual statistics. So half the subscribers, half the view count. Something happened to the algorithm. None of us really know what yet. I think the search, something happened to the search, recommended videos, stuff like that, recommended channels, something happened. But we need to fight this algorithm, and the best way to do that is by numbers. If we fight the algorithm with numbers. So, Brett, if you can, please share this channel with your friends and family. This is not about me, it's about the community, the filmmaking community. I want this to be an experience, an educational area where people learn as much as they can about filmmaking. So if we fight the algorithm with numbers, we will win. And that's a promise. We will win. So let's bring that view count back up ourselves and that subscriber count back ourselves. We don't need no algorithm telling us what we can and can't do. We can do it ourselves with the numbers, and that's a promise. MC Drone, almost 11 p.m. UK time, hitting the sack. Have a great evening, Josh. You too, MC Drone. Thank you so much for your super chat. You are the man, and we'll see you soon. D says, haha, algorithm isn't evil quite yet. It's working towards something, though. We'll see what it does. All right, my friends, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for your support. Stay tuned for more videos. I still have 2 reviews that I need to put in the can. One is for the Feiyutech A2000 gimbal. That review is coming soon. I think I'll release it by next Monday, if not earlier. And then I'll have a review coming for the Juwin Smooth Q. Alright guys, thank you so much. So much for your support. Thank you again. Please share the channel to as many people as you can and have them like, share the content as well, and subscribe to the channel. I love you all again. Have fun filmmaking, and I'll see you on the next live stream. Peace.